And this is what we want to talk to you about first on the programme. This. Look at the poor man. Look at him. He's looking dog rough.
Yeah. Well, I always look like that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but you look worse than ever.
I feel I'm fragile. Fragile is the word of the day.
Okay, we want to talk about the side effects that some people have experienced from getting the COVID-19 vaccine. So yesterday, our Jeremy, as I said, we weren't here yesterday, and the reason for that was because Jeremy went off to get his second vaccine.
Yes, out to City West to get the, what's it called, the Comirnaty? Is that what the name of the vaccine is?
Yeah, but it's the Pfizer vaccine, basically, yeah.
And I got the vaccine. It was my second jab, and I was absolutely fine afterwards. Arm was a bit sore. Drove home. It was my second shot, by the way, for people asking. My second shot. Drove home. Was fine last night watching the match. I even texted my family in the WhatsApp group, and I was like, "Haha, I'm grand. I've been fine." And my sister messaged back, and she says, "Oh, you wait 24 hours." And this morning it hit me like a ton of bricks. Now, let's not dramatise this. I'm not dying, okay? There are people who have got serious side effects from it. That's not me.
So describe how you're feeling today.
Oh, we should look. What's on my arms? Goosebumps.
Yeah, goosebumps on your arms.
Goosebumps all over my arms. I'm shivering. I'm cold and I'm hot. Like, I'm in a t-shirt, but when I put a hoodie on, I'm roasting, so I can't control my... I just feel like... You know what I feel like? I feel like I have the worst hangover in the world ever. My arm is really, really sore as well. But I'm not saying that to deter people from getting the vaccine. I mean, that's... You know, we were warned that there would be small side effects. I mean, you look at the HSC website and it says common side effects of the COVID-19 vaccine, tenderness in the arms, feeling tired, that's me, headache, that's me, muscle pain, oh, yeah, my back, joint pain, I haven't got that, diarrhea, I'll tell you after I have my dinner whether that's the case, and fever of 38 degrees. I haven't even checked to see what my... I am quite hot.
You're hot-ish, yeah. You're hot-ish.
Don't ever touch me again. Anyway, I'm not saying that to try and scare people off, but what we want to do, and what one of you asked us to do, is to have a frank and open discussion about the side effects that some people, by the way, some is the key word here.
And some is important to say, because I mentioned this to you last week. I got my second vaccine last week.
Yeah.
And the worst side effect that I had was tiredness. So the following day, I went home in the afternoon and I just got into bed for 2 hours. And after that, I was grand. And a sore arm, but you'd expect that from any sort of an injection. But I felt grand. Was just a little bit tired. And that's the conversation that we want to have. For some... It's been like water off a duck's back. And I would say myself, honestly, that it was like water off a duck's back. I was a bit tired and that was it. And that was after my second one. But for others, I know they have felt like they've been hit by a speeding train.
Yeah. You see, everybody's body is different and everybody reacts different ways to different things. And Adrian just happened to be lucky that whatever way his body is designed... Jesus. I mean, the fact that you didn't get any side effects is a mystery to me. But everybody is different. I mean, nobody else, I think my sister had bad side effects, but nobody else in my family had. You know, my mother got the 2 vaccines and she was absolutely grand.
And same as both my parents, not a bother on them.
Yeah, but this is going to pass, okay, for me. And as I said, I'm sure there's other people listening at the moment who have gone through worse. And this is your opportunity to talk to us about it, because myself and Adrian were having an interesting conversation off air. And maybe we're right, maybe we're wrong about this, but we haven't heard this discussed anywhere in the mainstream media. And by the mainstream media, I mean, you know, or RTE or any of the commercial radio stations. I have not heard people talking about the adverse effects to it. And we need to discuss that as well.
Absolutely.
Not to scare people off, but just to say that...
Look, this may happen to you. And you were told yesterday that this may happen to you.
Yes.
You were told that, you know, your second dose particularly can affect you. You were told all that yesterday, and it has. And I was told the same thing, and it didn't. I was a bit tired, and that was about the size of it.
Yeah, so it's not as if the people administering the vaccines are hoodwinking you. You know, you're not going in to get the vaccine, and she's not saying you're going to be grand, you're going to be okay. I mean, the first thing she said to me was, make sure you take 2 paracetamol later. No, I haven't taken them.
It's your own fault.
No, I only really take tablets when there's my arm doesn't need to be hanging off before I take them. But, you know, they don't hoodwink us. They warn you that there could be possible side effects.
All right, so that's the conversation that we want to have with you. And we want you to send us a WhatsApp to 085 825 2626. 085 825 2626. That's our WhatsApp number. And the conversation, so as I said, the reaction that some people have been getting to the vaccine, 4 million COVID vaccines have been administered in this country, while most people reported not having any side effects other than a sore arm. A lot did. And that's what we want to find out. What sort of side effects did you have to getting the vaccine, if any? If you didn't have any, and I'll be honest, I would say I didn't have any. I was a bit tired, and that was about the size of it. Let's kick off with an opinion on this from Dave.
Lads, I got the Johnson & Johnson one the other day, and I'm not joking. It was easily the worst night's sleep I've had as long as I can remember, to be honest with you. Even a couple of days later, I still feel fairly fed up after it, but it is what it is. It's done. But yeah, if I'd have known it was going to be like this, I probably would have waited until next week, so I would have been able to take a day off of work. But look, I'm vaccinated now, so sorted.
All right, good man, Dave. My God, where in God's name is he?
Sounds like he's sawing a pipe or something. We also want to hear from people, if you did have to take time off in work, did you get paid for having the time off? Because I would imagine that's up to an employer, isn't it?
As far as I know, yes. And most employers have been fairly decent about it. But it's also open to abuse. Yeah. I got my vaccine yesterday. I'm not feeling well today.
Of course it is, yeah. Who's to prove that?
All right, 085 825 2626 is our WhatsApp number. Have you experienced any side effects from the vaccine? And if so, what were they like? And if they weren't too bad, let us know that they weren't too bad. So Jeremy and I, he's feeling all fluey and just meh today. Yeah. I, on the other hand, when I had my second one, the worst side effects was right as rain. I was a little bit tired, went to bed for 2 hours, brand new, sorted. 085 825 2626 is our WhatsApp number. Let me start with Debbie. Debbie, welcome to Opinions Matter.
Hi, Adrian. Hi, Jeremy.
Hi, Debbie. Because it was Debbie, actually. It was you that wanted this topic brought up in the first place. And before we before we discuss what you've gone through and what you are going through and the side effects, and one of the issues that you brought up in your message to us, which we found interesting, was that you said you don't believe the mainstream media is covering topics like this. Is that true?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, now, and what do you mean by that? Explain that to us. You haven't heard any conversations anywhere about the side effects of the vaccine?
No.
Okay.
I put it up on my own Facebook social media page, and I could not believe the amount of phone calls I received and messages from people who had extreme effects after it and were hospitalized.
Okay, so explain to me firstly, when did you get your vaccine?
I had mine on Sunday. City West.
In City West, which is exactly where Jeremy went to get his. Okay, so was this your first one or your second one?
This was my first one.
Okay.
And I'd just like to say, I'm not anti-vaccine, I'm not against it, and I will be taking the second one.
Okay.
I definitely will.
All right,
but I would like to highlight what I went through, because I just don't see anybody reporting it.
Okay, so that was Sunday. Today is Thursday. Tell me what you have gone through this week.
Oh, hell. Basically, after I had the injection, I collapsed straight away. Luckily enough, my parents had brought me for the injection because I do have underlying health issues. So we knew that, typical me, something would go wrong, something had happened, it would be me. So as I said, I collapsed after it. They brought me into the room. They kept checking my blood pressure, done the blood sugar levels. And when I came home, my tongue swelled up and my throat swelled up.
So, sorry, the first symptoms happened within that 15-minute observation period, did it?
Yeah.
Okay, so it was very quick.
Yeah.
And they released you or let you go, did they?
They did, yeah. Yeah.
So then off you went home. Tell me what happened then when you were at home.
As I said, my tongue swelled up, my throat. I do have underlying health conditions, but I haven't used nebulizers in years. Got very, very wheezy. My breathing was very bad for about 2 days. My legs, the pains in my legs was unbelievable. I was constantly vomiting. My parents came back down to collect me to bring me to their house, and they had to hold each one of my arms, trying to help me get up the stairs. And literally trying to lift each leg to get up the stairs. Vomiting, my face completely swelled up, and my lips everywhere completely swelled up from it.
Now, somebody actually just messaged us a moment ago to say it sounds like that woman had anaphylactic shock. Did they say anything about that?
A lot of people, everybody wants me to go to the hospital. I didn't want to go. I didn't. So that's on my own head. So I spent 3 days in bed, violently sick from it.
And as I said, you got your vaccine on Sunday. Today is Thursday. How are you feeling today?
I'm okay today. Just the stairs are still my legs are getting very, very sore with the stairs. And last night again, even my legs, I couldn't lift my legs properly.
Wow, that's a lot of side effects.
Yeah.
And but interestingly, you have said quite clearly that you're not anti-vax, because I'm just looking at some of the messages coming in from the usual anti-vax people that you're not.
As soon as you mention the word vaccine, they literally they crawl out from the hovel, and they come out with the same lines every time. It's like, death vaccine, inject the poison, blah, blah, blah. But they can't back... And then another comment, we've had so many deaths relating to this, but they can't back any of this nonsense. And sorry, to those people, just go off the page. This isn't a conversation about you making up stuff. This is to talk to people who have had actual side effects. So people like that guy, Gary... we don't need to talk to you, Gary. You're never going to take the vaccine. You're just spouting nonsense. Do you know the ingredients of the vaccine? Gary, the ingredients of the vaccine are not hidden. You can look at them online.
They're in the leaflet. And here's the thing.
Do you know the ingredients of the paracetamol?
Exactly,
you take?
that's exactly the point.
The headache tablets you
don't. Exactly. Debbie, you contacted us because you think this needs to be talked about, and we'll be podcasting this obviously later on. And is it that you want people to be aware that you can have this sort of a side effect? Or is it also to highlight that when you've contacted I know you contacted your GP and didn't have much luck with your GP. Explain that to me.
Yeah. So this is what I wanted to highlight more is when I got through to my internet was down. So I tried contacting the HSE by phone on the number that they give you on the flyer. When I got through to them, they said, oh, no, they can't take any of the complaints or take any notes of them over the phone, which I found very strange.
That's very strange.
Now, since I looked at the notes again, it is actually the HPRA that you do register it with, not the HSE. When I contacted my doctor this morning, I was told, okay, have you got your credit card? We have to charge you a fee for this. Which, again, I was quite shocked by.
They have to charge you a fee to register your side effects?
Yeah, which I found ridiculous.
That is ridiculous, yeah.
Now, funny enough,
we've lost her. We'll try and get her back in a second. 085 825 2626 is our number. We'd love to hear from you on this. We're talking about the side effects of the vaccine. You may have had a vaccine so far. Did you have any side effects? Here's a message from a woman who also got the vaccine.
Good afternoon, lads. Yeah, sorry you're feeling rough, Jer, but I did warn you. I got my first Astra jab on 9th of April, I think. And yeah, I've been told by one person at the time, yeah, you're going to feel rough after it. And I remember, I'll never forget, waking up the next morning and opening my eyes and thinking, oh, good Jesus, I thought I was after being hit by a bus. And exactly like you said, it felt like the worst hangover in the world. And, oh, I felt dog rough all day. But only for one day. I was grand after that. But what I've noticed, I was supposed to get my second job last Friday, I had to cancel it. Supposed to get second job Tuesday, I had to cancel it. Long story, loads of shit going on at the minute. But I've noticed, now this is just me noticing, this is nothing I've read, nothing expert, nothing like that, but I've noticed it seems to be affecting people more in the age range of, say, between 30s and 50s. They're getting knocked out of it the next day. Like my dad, who is 76, he got it 2 weeks after me, and not a bother on him. Grand, not a bother. His wife got it the same day. She's 66, and all she had was the sore arm. Grand, not a bother on her. And just from what I'm noticing and what I'm reading now, I just from normal people, nothing medical, I don't know. It just seems to be people in between around 30s and 50s that are being hit like a brick. But for me anyway, it was only one day. So, yeah, get up and get on with it, really.
All right. 085825 2626 is our WhatsApp number. We're asking you if you had any side effects from getting the vaccine, and if you did, what were they like? Or if you didn't, and as I said, I'm one that I will admit I didn't have any side effects other than feeling a bit tired the next day.
Here is my other side effect. I have been so thirsty. This is like my fourth bottle of water today.
Right.
And as that girl was saying, it's like the hangover from hell, only you didn't get to celebrate the night out before it. So I didn't even get to go out last night. So, you know, when you get a hangover, you say, well, I had a hangover, but at least I had a great night last night. Jesus, we were out till 4 o'clock. I was in bed at 11 o'clock last night. I still have a hangover.
All right. Now, Debbie is back on the line. So, Debbie, you were explaining to us how you were being asked by your doctor to pay to register the fact that you were having these side effects, which seems really bizarre considering everything else that has happened during this time has involved no charge to people, either getting the vaccine or going for tests or any of that. There's been no charge, but you were being charged in order to have your symptoms registered.
Yeah, which I find absolutely ridiculous. And obviously, because of underlying health issues, I had to kind of speak. I had to make them aware, like speak to them directly on it. But, you know, I was told to contact my pharmacist as well, contacted the pharmacist, and it was only this afternoon then I got a call from the doctor. And I said to him, I said, I'm not paying you, I said, for this phone call. I said, why are you ringing me? I told the girl this morning I wasn't paying. And he said, no, he says, we've had a report from the pharmacy. So that's why he was ringing. And I said, well, if you're looking for payments now, I said, I'm not going through it. I'd only handed out 120 of medication. Like, so, but it was like the girl that was on the desk, she said, look, it's out of my hands. You have to pay it.
That's unbelievable. I'm really shocked by that. But as you said,
yeah.
and to reiterate, you're not anti-vax. You're going to have your second vaccine. But what you wanted to highlight is how very sick you have been all week as a result of the vaccine. That's really what you want to highlight. And as you said, and you're right to say, this is a conversation that hasn't been had widely. It hasn't, and that's the fact of it. Hang on there for 1 second, because I've been asked to play this WhatsApp voice note for you, Debbie, from Fiona. Have a listen to this.
I just want to say to the girl, Debbie, there on with yourselves, I'm not anti-vax myself. I mean, I'm fully vaccinated, so I'm not one of them that's anti-vax by any means. But what I'm going to say is she went what she has just described as hell, and basically sounds like anaphylactic shock, some sort of an allergic reaction, tongue swelling, throat swelling, like she's still struggling. Why is she getting a second dose to put herself through that again? Like, why? if she reacted like that, as I said in my comment, if she reacted like that to nuts or to tomatoes or strawberries or something else, she'd say, oh no, I'm allergic to them, don't give me that. I can't eat them again. I reacted to them badly before. I'm not going to go eat them again. So why is she going to put herself through this again?
Okay, it's a good question, Debbie. Why are you going to put yourself through this again?
Yeah, very fair question, and a couple of people have said it to me. That's I did say to the doctor this afternoon. I said, can I take a different one on the second one? And he said he couldn't tell me that. He said I needed to go through the HPRA to find out from them. So that's my next protocol is them now.
All right, stay there for one second if you can, please.
My doctor couldn't tell me that, yes, you can. Or no, you couldn't. Like a couple of questions that I said put to him today, he couldn't answer them. He said this is all very new to us.
And sorry, to answer that question that the lady texted in to you about why you're going to get the second one, I would say to that woman, and I'll simplify this, why do people, after waking up the next day after being out on the night out with a dying hangover, where they're getting sick, they can't get out of the bed, they
go through it all over again?
Why do you do that? Why do you go out on a Saturday night, get absolutely hammered, spend the day in bed the next day, and then do it all over again the next day? Why do women go through childbirth over and over again? We go through these things because it's for the betterment of our bodies. That's why.
Well, no, going out in the piss on a Saturday night isn't for the betterment of your body.
You've obviously never been out with me on a Saturday night.
Stay there for 1 second, Debbie, please. 085 825 2626 is our WhatsApp number. Debbie wanted us to have a conversation about the side effects of the vaccine. She's been very sick all week since she got her first jab on Sunday, and she just wants to highlight the fact, and we'd like to hear from you. 085 825 2626. Now, Robbie, you're on Opinions Matter. How are you, Robbie?
How are you doing?
Good, thanks, Robbie. What did you want to say on this?
No, so, I got both doses there, 6 weeks ago. And honestly, it's, the next day, if I touched my arm where I got the injection, it was sore.
And that happens with any injection that you get, really.
Yeah.
Certainly any injection I've ever gotten. But other than that, nothing.
No, well, I had a headache, but I had been on the beer that night, so I'm putting down for that.
There you go, yeah. And like I said, I can say the same thing, that the only side effect, if it even was a side effect, was the next day I was very, very tired. Other than that, I was brand new. By 2 days later, I was brand new.
You were up watching Netflix.
I had a friend of mine who was dead for 2 days, like pretty much just couldn't move.
Yeah.
He just trying to play a few games, and after about an hour, he said, "No, I'm going back to bed."
Yeah, but I'll be honest, that was me the next day. I worked in the morning, and by the afternoon I came home and I did something I never do. I hopped into bed for 2 or 3 hours, and I was grand then.
I just want to, and I don't want this to make...
Don't say I want to roll over and die now, come on.
That's not what I said at all.
You look okay.
Don't finish. No, I don't. I just want to cuddle up in a ball with a blanket over me and a hot chocolate and just ride this out. How was
your friend, Jeremy, your man yesterday?
Yes. Okay, so let me tell you all this story very briefly. This is hilarious, isn't it, Robbie? So I'll cut it short. Went to the City West Convention Centre yesterday to get the vaccine. And no, don't put on that camera. Look at me. I look like death.
Yeah, I know. I can see you.
People are going to be afraid to get the vaccine if they say, I don't want to end up looking like him. Anyway, so I go to the City West Convention Centre to get the vaccine. And for those of you who have got the vaccine, wherever you've got it, when you're queuing to go in, you're corralled in. So there's a queue going that way, and then there's a queue going the other way, up and down and up. And it's like queuing for a ride in Disneyland, yeah? You're going up and down and up and down. So as I'm on the queue, there's a fella coming towards me the other way in the corral. And I recognized him straight away. And it was one of those situations where he recognizes me immediately and I recognize him. We see each other's eyes. And I recognize him as someone who regularly, or who has, he obviously found the story boring, did he?
Yeah, go on.
Who regularly trolls us, has been trolling us for the last 6 months, calling us sheep and all the usual stuff that we've been hearing, sheep and government shrills and shills, whatever they are and all this. Anyway, we come eye to eye on the queue for the vaccination centre, and when he sees me, he nearly dies. His eyes just go, I can't believe I'm after bumping into you. So he gives me a nod, I give him a nod. Get the vaccine, wait the 15 minutes, and then I'm outside in the car park doing a Facebook Live to all of you. And as I'm doing that, Mr. X, we'll call him, comes out of the car park after getting his vax done. So rolled down the window and shouted at him, "How's the arm, buddy?" And he told me to F off, to be honest. But it just proves that this person who's been so vocal about no to the poison, went in and got it. I guarantee you he's not putting that up on Facebook that he got the vaccine.
No, of course he isn't. He's not putting photographs of him with his little badge or anything like that.
I didn't even get a badge. I'm disgusted.
Oh.
Every other vaccine centre has a plethora of badges.
No, they were ran out when I got mine in the Helix.
I was nearly going to rob it from the vaccinator nurse.
085 825 2626 is our WhatsApp number. We want to hear from you. If you are somebody who had side effects, or maybe you're somebody who didn't have any side effects, we'd like to hear from you. Debbie is the lady who contacted us to highlight what she's been through all week. And just, Debbie, for people who may be just joining us, summarise what you've been through this week.
Like you said there a while ago, it's definitely been hell. Severe vomiting, the headaches were unbearable, fever, tongue swells, face swells, throat swells. I would just say in the flyer as well, though, if the fillers are acting like that, which I think 99% of the women in the world have it done at this stage, that can give you swelling. But my face completely swelled up, lips and everything.
And a couple of days later, you're not as bad today, but still not feeling great.
No, I'm not bad. It's just stairs I'm still finding very difficult.
Okay, so you're breathless and all of that going up the stairs.
Yeah. When I posted on my Facebook page, I just cannot believe the amount of people that contacted me that said that they've been hospitalised after.
Okay, but thank God you haven't been hospitalised. You haven't ended up in hospital, although you did feel sick enough to go to hospital.
I did, but I've been 20 years in and out of hospital, so I kind of, it was my choice.
You weren't in a rush. All right.
Prepared.
Stay there for 1 second if you can, please, Debbie.
To the people, the amount of people that are messaging in about Debbie saying, why is she going for a second one when she had those side effects? And again, I would say, why do women in their thousands go for lip fillers every month and top up with lip fillers and Botox and all that, when after you get the lip fillers done, you look like you're after doing 6 rounds with Rocky Balboa, yet you'll go back in a month's time because they look gorgeous and the fillers look gorgeous. So would you give over with your hypocrisy? It's absolutely, isn't it infuriating?
It is, yeah.
And you can see some people texting in saying wouldn't inject the poison, and you look at their profile pictures and they're Botoxed and lip fillered to within an inch of their life. So cry me a river, seriously.
085 825 2626. Now, Rebecca, you're on Opinions Matter. How are you, Rebecca?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good. Now, what did you want to say on this?
Well, I got my first vaccination back in May. I'm pregnant at the moment, so I was kind of against getting it before, but then I kind of decided, well, maybe it's kind of the best thing to do. So I got the first vaccination back in May, and I was grand after, kind of feeling a bit tired. And then I waited the 4 weeks after to get the second vaccination. And I got it around 4:00 in the evening time. And I was grand. And then by 9:00, I got kind of a temperature of 39 to 40 degrees. So I took 2 paracetamols. Mm-hmm. And then I woke up in the middle of the night and it was like I was freezing cold. Like I was in the North Pole. I just couldn't keep the heat in me. And I just kept taking the paracetamol, and I rang my maternity hospital, but they couldn't kind of say anything because they had no kind of experience. You know, they were like, just take paracetamol and you should be okay. And then Sunday, my arm was just dead. And then on the Monday morning, I woke up with a horrible cough. And I couldn't kind of breathe. I couldn't swallow properly. My tonsils were inflamed. My GP didn't want to see me because they thought it was the symptoms of the COVID. But I finally got in to see a GP up in Dublin, a walk-in GP. And she sent me for, she said I had tonsillitis and I had a chest infection. and then they sent me for a COVID test, but an ambulance came to my house to test me for COVID, but thankfully I was negative. But the chest infection went on for 7 days. It was just, I thought I was dying.
Okay, so you weren't COVID positive. This was, by all accounts, the side effects of this vaccine, basically.
Yeah, because Friday I was grand, and then after I got the vaccination, all these problems started. All these side effects, and then I was kind of scared would it affect the baby, you know? That's what I was kind of scared of, and my maternity hospital just said you're just going to have to wait it out because they don't have much trial on pregnant women.
It is
kind of this is a discussion, by the way, that's rarely had anywhere. That if you are pregnant at the moment, I know someone who's pregnant at the moment. Now they're in their first trimester. And they had gotten the first shot before they knew they were pregnant, so they had one dose. She had one dose, not realising she was pregnant, and then found that she was pregnant subsequently. And she asked 2 different GPs whether or not she should get the second dose, and one said yes and one said no, which leaves you in a very difficult position if you have 2 GPs who are
giving different advice.
Different advice. And how do you feel personally?
Myself?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah, yourself.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I worked in the hospital up until a few weeks ago. I had to be let go, obviously, because I'm pregnant. But I was totally against getting the COVID vaccination. But like my midwives were saying, like to get it, and then the kind of my GP was like, kind of don't get it, you know, that way. So I was kind of just in kind of 2 kind of mindset minds. I didn't know if I'd get it and then it would affect the baby and it'd be kind of my fault, or if I didn't get it and then something happened to the baby, you know. So that's why I was trying to leave it to the latest that I possibly could. I think I got my first vaccination when I was just 29 weeks, and I kind of got the second one just before the 36 weeks.
It really sounds like you went through hell.
Yeah, I went through hell, and people ask me, "Oh, would you give advice on pregnant women getting the vaccination?" And it's it's up to their own. But what I went through, like, I wouldn't do it again, you know, especially being pregnant, because it's horrible, like, you know.
And as we said, this isn't a conversation today to try and scare people or to try and discourage them getting their vaccine. And I'm sure you don't want to discourage people to get it either, do you?
No. It's up to everybody individual. Like, you know, it's up to kind of your body. Like, you know, everyone has a different body and stuff like that. But especially when you're carrying, you know, another human being, it's a big responsibility. Like, you know, you're thinking, will I do it? Will I not? Like, I was working in the hospital and I was the first one to kind of to get offered, and I kept saying no. And people were like, "You're mad, don't get it." And then some people were like, "Do get it," you know. And I'm like, "Oh, what do I do?" Like, you know.
You do what you feel. Well, you obviously take medical advice first and foremost, and then you do what you feel is best for you and your baby. Yeah. That's what it is. And if you don't want to get the jab, don't feel pressurized into doing it.
Yeah.
And how are you now?
I'm grand now. I'm 3 weeks tomorrow, fully vaccinated. So I'm feeling great now, thank God.
That's good. And you are fully vaccinated, even though it was difficult, which is great. That has to give you some consolation as you go on with your pregnancy.
Yeah. No, it is. I'm fully vaccinated and I feel safe. And especially when I'm going in to give birth, like, you know, I'm fully vaccinated, I'm safe, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, great to talk to you. Thanks very much indeed, Rebecca. 085 825 2626 is our WhatsApp number, and you're shaking your head there.
Yeah. You try not to rise to these things, but I will anyway. And I want to read out a message from Debbie. Now, Debbie has contacted the show many times, and a lovely girl by all accounts to talk to and stuff like that. But Debbie, I think you're way off here. So she says, Jeremy is ill. and that lady, Debbie, too, because you've been poisoned. It's a natural reaction to poison and sickness. You're risking yourself for some virus that has a tiny percentage chance of killing you. It's barbaric. Good luck. Go to the health store and try and detox that stuff out of your system. And I asked Debbie to come on, and she said she wouldn't be confident enough and she'd be branded anti-vax. Well, you'd be branded anti-vax because you are, but then you know, to say stuff like that, Debbie, I'd love to know. I'd love to get inside your head and wonder how you came about even thinking that. Like, where did you pick that up? You're not a virologist. You're not an epidemiologist. You haven't been in a lab. You've never developed a vaccine in your life, no more than I have. Yet you have this thing in your head that it's poison. And I just don't get that. And I would ask you, Debbie, have you ever got lip fillers? Have you ever got Botox injections? Do you know what ingredients...
Did you get vaccines when you were a baby?
Yeah, did you get vaccines when you were a baby? You're still here now. And let me tell you, Debbie, the world would be, and I'm not for one moment, preaching vaccines, but can you imagine what the world would be like without a polio vaccine?
Absolutely.
It would be
horrendous.
Debbie, if you want to do some research, Debbie, here's some research you should do. Do research on polio, okay? And because it's before your time, it's before my time and Adrian's time, but you see what the world was like before a polio vaccine was developed, and then come back to me with your anti-vax nonsense. Because you're saying you're not anti-vax, that is anti-vax. When you're telling me to go to a health store, eat spinach or cabbage or something like that, and flush the poison, as you call it, out of my system, how do you even reason with someone like that?
You don't. This is a simple answer.
Debbie's a nice girl and all that.
And she's been offered the opportunity to talk to us.
Yeah.
Maybe Debbie will send us a WhatsApp to 085 825 2626. It's very easy because Rebecca did exactly that.
Hey guys, it's Rebecca here. I'm currently pregnant at the minute, and I got my second vaccination 2 weeks ago. I was so sick. I got like a high temperature. I was cold. My arm felt like it was like falling off. And then to top it all off, on the Monday, I got like a really bad chest infection. I thought I was like dying.
All right, that was Rebecca. That was on to us just a couple of minutes ago. Peter sent us this message.
Lads, I had my first jab in March. It was the AstraZeneca jab. I felt like absolute crap after it. I had it on a Friday, first thing in the morning. I think it was about 8:45. By 3:30, I told my boss I needed to go home. I went home, slept right the way through till about 1 o'clock the next day. Got up, still felt awful all night. And I think even when I went back to work on Monday, I still felt under the weather with it. My wife, she had her jab the very same day. She was fine, not a problem with her. And then I had the second jab in May, and I was grand. I didn't feel anything after it. My wife, she had the second jab same day again. She was fine. She didn't have a bother with it. So yeah, I think it's each to their own, really.
And it's like the effect of the actual virus on people. Some people, I was talking to somebody yesterday who's just back to work after being out of work for 2 weeks with the virus. Not a bother on him.
Absolutely.
He wasn't sick at all.
Yeah.
And his girlfriend had it as well, and she was sick as a dog.
It's absolutely floored.
So, and I think the vaccine has the same effect. It affects different people in different ways. Let's bring in Tracy on this conversation.
Hey, Adrian and Jeremy. When I got the first Pfizer, my arm was just killing me the next morning. I woke up at 5:30 with the pain in my arm. It was absolutely horrific, and I couldn't cope with it the whole day. It was quite painful. A bit tired, really, but that was all. And I actually thought that was bad enough. But the second one, 4 weeks later, I was actually in bits. I felt sick. It was so strange. It was like you had the flu, but you hadn't got the flu, if you know what I mean. I felt horrific. Now, I had it for a few days now. I dragged myself through that week. And it was nearly like skin crawling feeling. It was like you couldn't describe it. It was just, I didn't feel right at all. For a good week, definitely a good 5 days after I got the second Pfizer. So I don't envy you, Jeremy. It's not nice. And now I've heard of people that wasn't a bother. Like, not a bother out of them. Even my husband, there wasn't a bother out of him. the second one, actually, probably a day or two, he was feeling a bit rough, but I literally dragged myself through the week of that second vaccine. Like, the thought if they come out and say you have to get a booster, because I really don't want to feel like that. The only way I was thinking about it was if, imagine how you would felt if you actually got the virus then. If that's how I felt for a week or 5 days after the second vaccine, imagine how I would have been if I actually picked up the virus. But yeah, I hope you feel well soon, Jeremy. Bye.
All right, thank you, Tracy. And that goes back to what we were just talking about a second ago, that you and I, touch wood, have escaped in the last 15 months without contracting the virus. It does make you think, as she just said, you know, maybe with me it mightn't have taken a breath out of me, but with you, you could have been in bits.
Well, in fact, to that end, and a lot of you are going to be annoyed by this message from Stephen, which we're about to play, because, again, Stephen is down a rabbit hole. And how do you get someone out of a rabbit hole when they're down that rabbit hole so far?
Okay, but let's have a listen to Stephen.
Lads, these so-called anti-vaxxers, like 90% of them, maybe more, they're not anti-vax, they're just anti-disvax, the COVID vaccine. Obviously polio and all, we know the death numbers, but it's been proven about COVID, the death numbers, everything has all been exaggerated. It's been proven that the government have been lying about numbers and fiddling with numbers. So obviously people are going to be suspicious about the so-called cure for it, you know? So I just think, I don't even know anyone that's had it, and people that test positive, they're all fine. So why wouldn't you be curious about the vaccine?
Jesus.
Okay, Stephen, you don't know anyone who's had it. I don't know what circle you're hanging around in, because...
Okay, there's a couple of issues here. Literally everything you said in that message, Stephen, and opinions do matter, but you need to back up opinions with a bit of fact, and you have no fact. Everything you said in that message is either untrue or not backed up by fact. Okay, so one of the things you said was that the government are lying about the death numbers. Can you send, if you don't mind, in the next 2 minutes, can you send us the proof of that? Because you said it's a fact. And when someone says to me that something is a fact, I want to see proof of it, yeah? Yeah.
And all I will say to Stephen is, say that to the 5,000 people in the Republic of Ireland that have passed away.
Oh, sure, Stephen doesn't believe this.
No.
He doesn't believe that. Yeah. Even though a member of my own family passed away from it, Stephen would not believe that. And that's, do you know how frustrating and how annoying that is, Stephen, as someone who has lost a family member to COVID? How annoying. Like, would you go up to someone, Stephen, who lost their mother to cancer? Would you go up to someone on the street, or would you say that to a relative who lost a mother to cancer? Would you say, she didn't die of cancer? That's fake. That was made up. No, you bloody wouldn't say that.
No, of course you wouldn't.
You're so insensitive to say that, because as Adrian said, there's 5,000 families who went through hell in the last year because they lost a family member. They weren't able to bury them properly. They weren't able to have a proper funeral. So, Stephen, to be honest with you, your opinion, absolutely, it makes my skin crawl. And